Is your resume full of white space? Does it scream inexperience? Whether you are a newly minted college graduate or you have been out of workforce for a few years, you have probably grown tired of being rejected due to lack of experience. Let's take a look at some examples and ideas for structuring your resume to make your experience or lack thereof look appealing to the reader. Firstly, putting your education at the top of the resume will alert the reader that you probably don't have much experience to back up your degree. So, if you have internships, volunteer work, and actual work experience that you can include, there is nothing wrong with including that information before your education. However, keeping with the tradition works too. If your education is your biggest asset, go ahead and place it right up front. Remember that everything you include in your resume should still be relevant if you stay within resume writing guidelines. Secondly, margins are important. You don't want your resume to have too wide of a margin. So, keep the margin size to nothing larger than the standard 1 inch. When your resume is printed and lying among other resumes whose owners adjusted their margin to half an inch, your resume can look even more inadequate. Thirdly, try utilizing different font sizes. Start with the 12-point Times New Roman font. Then, if you want to switch to a different standard fonts, remember that each font may appear larger or smaller based upon the type of font, not just the font size. For example, an Arial round typeface will appear larger than the Times New Roman, even if they are of the same font size. Again, if you go with an overly large font, it will look amateurish when sitting among other resumes that the reader has printed. It will stand out, but not for a good reason. You can use a larger font size for the section headers, but don't go for more than 2 sizes larger than the overall text in your resume. Meaning to say, if the main text of your resume is 11 points, do not go larger than 13 points for the search headers. Meaning to say, if the main text of your resume is 11 points, do not go larger than 13 points for the section headers. The only exception to this is with your name. At the top of your resume, you can make your name larger, which will also help to take up white space on the page. Adding a space between the name of the company and the job title or the job responsibilities is another aesthetically pleasing way to fill up space on your resume without making it obvious, just what you are trying to do. An important point to note here is that while you may feel you need to fill space on your resume, it is not an excuse to begin adding hobbies, your photos, your personal information like your height, marital status, or gender. If you have been simply widening your margins, try some of these other tactics to help you further build out your resume.